Hi everybody, we are here today at the Commission Office of Slovakia. This is Peace Ever TV. I'm your host, Olia Kang. We're very honored to have Ambassador Michal MLYNÁR to be here with us today. Welcome, Michal.
Thank you, and it's good to see you.
Very nice to see you. So, would you like to introduce a little bit of, your duty and, what you're tackling with recently?
Yes, I have served as the ambassador, the permanent representative of Slovakia to the United Nations in New York since August of 2017. This is my second term or second tour of duty in New York. Previously, I served in New York already from 2004 until 2009 as deputy permanent representative at the time when Slovakia was also a member of the UN Security Council in 2006 and 2007. Now coming back at a very exciting and very challenging time at the same time, because as you probably know, Slovakia nominated during this General Assembly session the President of the General Assembly, our Minister of Foreign and European Affairs, Mr. Miroslav Lajčák, and of course we are focusing on an everyday basis on all the important global issues of peace and security, development, human rights, and all other important elements of the UN work in general. So it is really a 24/7 job, and it is something that requires a lot of work, but also really offers an opportunity to a smaller country like Slovakia to contribute well to global affairs and to effective multilateralism. I have a good young team. Colleagues of mine are really very dedicated and very focused on the issues that they cover. So despite the challenges and the current geopolitical reality, it's a rewarding experience.
That's very nice to hear. Thank you so much, Ambassador. So my second question would be, the NGO annual meeting is coming this August, and we actually, as a non-government organization, we interviewed Mr. Bruce Knotts in this April to talk about how we can more collaborate with the conference and how we can contribute to the conference. So would you like to share some thoughts or comments about non-government organizations contributing to the UN activities?
I was very happy to see that actually this is, if I'm not mistaken, the 67th annual conference that the NGOs have as part of their strong partnership with the United Nations. And I think it is more than natural that the NGOs, civil society, they need to be engaged with the United Nations, because they are often the ones who contribute to the various aspects of UN work in very practical terms, who can, in other words, provide us with a bit of a reality check, who are often responders also on the ground, who really can help the international community address crises or address situations on the ground, whether it is peace and security or it is development or other issues. I was really very fortunate in my previous role as the Slovak ambassador to Nairobi, to Kenya, and 11 other countries of the region, to have worked very closely with a number of NGOs, mainly focused on development cooperation. So I know how vital and how critical their work is, and how much really they can contribute, how important the partnerships are. So also in our own way, Slovakia has always contributed through its NGOs and through supporting these important partnerships that have been forged over the recent decades between the United Nations and the NGOs. Of course, sometimes there are challenges, and we need to overcome those challenges through dialogue, through engaging and being able to find solutions which are for the benefit of us all, and for the benefit of also strengthening the United Nations as such. So I cannot praise enough the importance of the work of the NGOs and the importance of this partnership. And of course, on our end, we will do our best to make sure that that this partnership develops further, whether it is under the auspices of ECOSOC, where of course there is the primary role, but in other contexts as well.
Right. Thank you so much. So, well, my third question would be for two little parts. The first part is, the sustainable peace is always one of the most crucial topic, and the task for UN to handle. And we recently, of course, we would love to hear your comments and thoughts about how to actually, enhance and maintain the sustainable peace in the world. And also, because we, Peace Ever TV, as a non-government organization, we intended to host this concert inviting different countries' choir to sing together for the sustainable peace theme. So I would like to know if you have any thoughts or suggestions on that as well.
I was very happy to see that sustaining peace is one of your priority areas, and that you are preparing to host or organize a concert. And maybe I can start with the latter part of your question. It's a wonderful idea, because peace is a category that requires understanding, dialogue, engagement, and music in many ways can be an element which is bringing people together, that can forge partnerships, commitments, and that can build bridges. So we certainly very much welcome your initiative, and potentially if we can assist you with approaching some choirs also from Slovakia or from other countries of our region, we will certainly be happy to do that.
Yes.
And it can be a very useful initiative, especially among young people, whose role is really crucial, also in the future of the United Nations. And sustaining peace has been really the number one priority also of the current president of the General Assembly. The so-called flagship initiative of his presidency took part in April, a few weeks ago, and really it is natural that peace is the number one priority of the work of the United Nations, because that the United Nations was set up as a peace project. It was set up to prevent humanity from any further conflict or war, and it is really important that we strengthen the peace and security architecture, and peace and security efforts that the United Nations is engaged in, through promoting sustaining peace building, through focusing more on conflict prevention, on mediation efforts, and really trying to achieve tangible progress, because as we all know, prevention is better than cure. It's a medical term, but it certainly applies also in the international relations context, and really we can achieve much more in the area of conflict prevention, and that way we can save more lives, we can even save resources,
Right.
which then could be directed into other areas, in particular into development. So it seems to me that the peace building agenda is really a critical component of our work for the next period, and we need to see it as a win-win situation, and hopefully we will be able really to deliver on our efforts. We are certainly very much committed to do that.
Thank you so much. So speaking of one of the topics, one of the biggest tasks for UN, what do you think of the recent climate change? Especially, I've heard, including Slovakia, there's regions that experience continuous rain, so as a lot of other regions in the world recently experiencing storm. So do you have any comments or thoughts regarding the topic?
Certainly, climate change is probably one of the challenges that we are facing. And nobody is immune of that challenge, or nobody can say that it doesn't apply to his or her country. And it is obvious that we are all affected one way or another by climate change. And Slovakia is no exception to that. We see also in Slovakia how much climate patterns are changing. Winters seem to be more severe. Summers seem to be hotter and more humid. Similarly to New York, we are experiencing more drastic changes. We are experiencing more storms, or including windstorms. So in as far as we have not been really affected in a really dramatic way, nobody of course can deny that even in our part of Europe, climate change is a phenomenon that needs to be addressed. And we are very much committed to implementation of the Paris Climate Agreement, but also to continuing further in our efforts of really turning the wheel in a different direction, and trying to slow down to the extent possible the negative effects of climate change, because for many smaller nations or island states, this is a survival issue. This is something which will require also from the international community, from the United Nations, serious efforts and activities that will need to be done. It was actually during Slovakia's presidency of the Council of the European Union in the second half of 2016 when we spearheaded efforts within the European Union for early entry into force of the Paris Climate Change Agreement, and it was in November of 2016 that this agreement entered into force, also thanks to those efforts, and we were very proud of that. But of course, critical thing is implementation, and the European Union, Slovakia included, is really committed to being a leader in climate change action on a global scale. That's why we wholeheartedly supported the recent French initiative related to the Global Compact for environment, and we are very much part of further efforts that will follow now, be it in New York or in Nairobi, because the United Nations Environment Program is is in Nairobi. It has its headquarters in Nairobi, and the working group, which results from the recent General Assembly resolution, will be meeting in Nairobi and will be preparing important recommendations. Having served in Nairobi before, as I have mentioned, I know how important that engagement is and how important it is to really capitalize on the excellent expertise and professional capacities that are available within UNEP in Nairobi, but also through its other components. And you know, there is no excuse not to do more on climate change. It was former Secretary General Ban Ki-moon who said that we have to do more because, and that there is no plan B, because we have no planet B. So, you know, our generation really has the important responsibility of addressing climate change for the sake of our children, grandchildren, and the future generations. So certainly we will do our best to contribute in our own way to these global efforts.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Just 1 second. So yeah. My next question would be something concerning actually media. So what do you think of the statement of the free and independent media as the true foundation of democracy? What do you think of that, and what do you think is the way to actually make sure there's more free voice in the world?
Well, as you probably know, Slovakia is among those countries that fairly recently underwent a major transition from a totalitarian regime into a democratic society, and focusing a lot on the democratic values and principles, including the paramount importance of freedom of speech and freedom of media, and of course also protecting the independent nature of journalism, and making sure that journalists can perform their job in a safe and feasible environment. So for us, for me also personally, this is no business as usual. This is really an important component of the wider framework of the democratic values and principles, and certainly journalists play an important role in providing the reality check to the society, making sure that citizens of every society get information and get access to information about what's been happening. Of course, they also have an important role to help address potential irregularities, or help making sure that the civil servants and the politicians follow the highest principles of ethics and transparency. So you know, the principles are clear. Of course, often it is also about practical implementation of those principles, and I believe that we collectively have an important role to play in ensuring that the independent and impartial role of journalists is protected and is guaranteed. By the way, our constitution guarantees freedom of speech and
Yes.
freedom of the media. So of course this is something which is enshrined in our main law. But now in the modern era, when social media play an important role, and when we really experience extremely rapid development of any spheres of our life, including a massive amount of all types of information,
Yes.
valid, objective, but also fake or subjective, or somehow really put into a different context. I think we need to work together on making sure that we are able to distinguish between independent, free, democratic principles and discharge of journalists' work and some other negative tendencies. And of course, we need to work together as the international community, but as citizens in our own societies, so that we really achieve true positive developments in the area of freedom of the media, without some of the major challenges and without some of the negative phenomena that I have mentioned, because often we see that these basic principles are endangered.
Yes.
And of course people are then confused, to say the least, or people are frustrated by the situation. And this is a role for, also in addition to the journalists themselves, there is a role also for NGOs to play their supportive, positive role, and for credible politicians to ensure that proper conditions, including legal conditions, are created for journalists, for the media.
Thank you so much. So it's last but not least. So about the Belt and Road Initiative, I'm sure you've heard of. It says it's going to be actually, reach to its sustainable development goal by 2030. And what's your, thoughts and comments about its implementation, specific implementation?
Yes, we certainly very much appreciate the recent initiative, the Belt Road project. Slovakia actually signed the Memorandum of Understanding related to this initiative already in 2015. So we have already earlier expressed our readiness and our support to the initiative as such, and we are ready to stay engaged, to cooperate very closely with China, but also with other countries that have been part of this initiative, to share experience, to be able to contribute positively into this joint work, and we see a strong link with the 2030 agenda for sustainable development, especially in the area of partnerships, where we can share experience, we can share lessons learned, best practices, and probably this is one of the added values, or one of the important components of this initiative. We would like to continue our engagement, our interactions with China and with others, to see how best we can take advantage of this important opportunity, because together we can do a lot more, including in infrastructure, and in economic impulses that hopefully will then generate further economic opportunities, job opportunities, especially for the young people. So this is some of the areas where we see particular focus from our point of view, creating, promoting opportunities, especially for young people, for some of the less fortunate or some of the disadvantaged communities or disadvantaged groups of society, and it could be really a very practical contribution to implementation of the 2030 agenda, both nationally and in the wider context of international cooperation. Slovakia has recently adopted 6 key priority areas for its implementation plan for the 2030 agenda. We will be presenting them in July here in New York during the high-level political forum. And we will be presenting our first voluntary national report. So these elements will be part of the report that we will be presenting, and this is also an opportunity to work together and then move initiatives like that forward.
Right. Okay, thank you so much for making your precious time to accept our interview today, and let you to get back to the very, very, very important work. And thank you so much again. We'll hopefully we'll have a second time to continue to follow up with you to see what's the progress of UN and all the topics we just talked about. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, and best wishes. All right. Thank you.
But in a glass frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way, of course, is easier.